Today I want to talk about a topic that may be uncomfortable for some people out there, but it has to be addressed, and that is humanizing your dog. Let's talk about it. How's it going? My name is Ruben. If you're new to the channel, this channel is all about the bull breeds, killing the bad stereotypes and becoming better owners. And I really want to address this problem that I see across certain platforms that people are doing, and that is humanizing their dog. So we're going to go deep into this topic and why it could be dangerous for your dog. Now, when I talk about humanizing their dog, I'm talking about disregarding the emotions behind their dogs, the way they are, the way that they're pack animals and how they behave with the pack, and how they behave as animals in general. And sometimes a lot of owners are turning a blind eye to what the dog actually needs, their real emotions, and how you can help them. So I'm gonna give you right now some examples of what I think humanizing your dog is and how it could be dangerous and what the outcome could be if you are doing these things. I've actually seen from my own eyes a dog that's humanized that's starting to turn aggressive, and the owners are like, I don't know why that's happening. Well, you're humanizing your dog and you're not giving them a leader, you're not giving them or fulfilling their wants and needs. And don't be surprised if stuff like this happens. The first example I got is a dog that is stealing food off the counters and off of people's plates. I see a lot of dog owners saying, oh, well, the dog is just hungry. The dog just wants some food. And so they actually reward that behavior by giving them treats or giving a bowl of food to their dog, and their dog gets rewarded for those behaviors. Only rewarding that behavior. There's no correction there and there's no leadership there. So guess what? That habit is never going to go away. And that's one way that they're humanizing their dog. Another example, you are starting to train your dog and your dog is just simply not listening to you, especially when you're around people or outside. Some people make the excuse like, oh, he had a bad day, he's lazy today, he's just not feeling it, so I understand why he's not listening. No, you can't give your dog that kind of low standards, because when are they ever going to listen to you? They're probably never going to listen to you in their lifetime if you continue down that road. You need to be able to train your dog to start listening to you on cue. When it's time to train, they need to know that it's time to train. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no lounging around on the couch for an extra 15 minutes and then maybe I'll listen to you. No, we got to start training them to listen to us. Maybe if they're in a dangerous situation and your dog doesn't listen to you, your dog might get mauled to death. That's worst case scenario, so please bear with me. But you guys get the point. You got to get your dog to listen to you at all times, especially when it's time for training. Example number 3 is a destructive dog that's tearing up all your couches, all your chairs, all your shoes and all that. And sometimes they get rewarded just so the dog doesn't do that anymore. You need to actually address this kind of behavior. Are they lacking exercise? Are they lacking some mental exercise? They're lacking training. They're missing something in their life that helps address this kind of behavior. It's just not something that he just got bored and he wanted to destruct the dang sofa. That sofa probably cost $1,000 or something around there, and you're just going to keep letting them do it? No, you got to address that behavior. Maybe they need exercise. A lot of people are just rewarding it. Go chew on the bone over there instead of chewing on my sofa. No, you got to address that kind of behavior. You got to make sure they're getting corrected and make sure it doesn't happen again and repeatedly, because, again, they're just going to keep destructing your sofa. They're going to keep tearing up your house, especially if it doesn't get addressed. Example number 4 is a dog taking over furniture or the bed. Now, I know I don't let my dog on the bed, and the reason why is because there's no room for him on the bed. But dogs that are, guarding the sofa, they're guarding the bed, they're not letting their owners onto them, they're not moving for their owners. They're saying that this is my couch, there's nothing you could do about it. It's not, oh, he's cozy just for a second, he's, sleeping very well. No, you got to be able to get your dog on and off the sofa on cue whenever you need or whenever you want. You got to be able to take that area from them instead of them guarding it and them dominating that area. They're thinking, no, I'm going to hold this position and you're not getting this position from me. This is my area and there's nothing you could do about it. 5th example is going on walks and owners letting their dog literally pull them down the street, pull them to another tree, let them stay a foot ahead of you, and they don't address the pulling or anything like that. There's no engagement whatsoever when you're outside. Now, when a dog is 2 to 6 inches in front of you when you're on a walk, They don't see behind them. They only see in front of them. They're about to make their next move. You're not making the next move for them. So you got to address the engagement, getting your dog back to this side of you on a heel and making sure that you got your dog under control outside. When they're pulling and doing whatever they want, they lead the way. They're the ones that are doing what they have to. And when a human or a pet owner is just saying, oh, he's just really excited. He's excited to be outside today. He's having fun. That's not appropriate kind of behavior that needs to go on when you're on a walk. So instead of thinking, oh, this is a cute little behavior, they're going tree to tree, sniffing all the different dogs that have been here. How about you get your dog on a heel and get them to look at you and engage with you when you're out on a walk. And then maybe you let them off on a simple little, break, and then you could let them go sniff on a tree or whatever. Another example is a lap dog. Let's say you have a lap dog and they growl at people when you're approaching you. And some people are just like, oh, he just don't like you. Like, what? No, that can't happen. When you say, oh, he just don't like you, you're allowing that kind of nervous fearfulness behavior from your dog. And eventually that could turn into real aggression if you keep letting it slip by. You need to address that kind of stuff. Why are they fearful? Why are they showing teeth? Why are they growling? You know what I mean? Do they need to focus more on training? Do they need to be more socialized? These kind of things need to be addressed, because if you just let your dog growl, it's only a matter of time where they're really going to take some serious action on their behalf, not your behalf, because they're their own leader at this point, and attack somebody. And then what happens after that? They go into the shelter. Oh, this dog is untrainable. Well, maybe it should have started at the beginning when you started seeing the behavior in the first place. One thing I want to say is that dogs are not rational and they're not logical like how humans are, and you can't discipline them like kids. Say, for instance, if I catch my dog eating food off the counter and I just tell him, hey, you know better than that. You better not be doing that. And then them look at you like, what? Like, they're not going to know that I just said not to do that. Like, you got to actually correct the dog for doing that. They're not going to think, hey, I feel guilty right now. I should probably never do that again. That's not how dogs think. They don't think like humans. And then disciplining them like kids is definitely not going to do any good for you. When you have those little lectures with your dog, like, hey, we've been through this before. You cannot do this anymore. This is the last time I'm going to tell you to stop doing this. No, you got to actually give that dog a correction. Maybe it's a flick on the leash if you're during training, and other different corrections that you see on this channel. It has to be addressed. It's not something that you can have a long conversation with your dog because they're going to listen to you and you're frustrated and they know it. I do want to go over more things that could happen if you start treating your dog like a human. And these are some of the consequences that could happen if you continue down this path. One thing that you could trigger for your dog is stress, especially if they're not getting all their needs met, such as exercise and training. You could really stress out your dog, and it could be ugly. They could have anxiety. They could start doing some weird behaviors due to this anxiety, and it could really build up that stress. Another thing that can happen is destructive behavior could get worse and worse over time. Another great consequence that could happen is if you're feeding your dog the same food as you and just overfeeding them, they could start becoming obese and have weight problems. Weight problems do lead to the joints starting to deteriorate, and it does lead to other diseases like cancer, heart disease, and all that kind of stuff that could happen when a dog is obese and not healthy. Another thing that can happen is behaviors that you don't know that your dog had when you're not around, and things happen. Like, let's say you go to a dog groomer and you leave your dog there for about 2 hours, however long it takes, and then your dog ends up attacking another dog. And you go back to the place and the place is like, hey, your dog just attacked this dog or killed this dog. And the first thing you're probably going to say is, he's never done that before. Well, of course you're never going to see that because none of that stuff was addressed. So I know I kind of went off on a rant, but I mean, I just really had to get this out because these dogs are powerful, man. These dogs are strong. These dogs are, they're muscular. They're hard to handle, especially if they don't listen to you and they're pulling you outside. And if you don't get a hold onto your dog immediately, I'm talking starting training right now after you watch this video, then it could get out of hand later on down the road. And that's what I do not want. This channel is all about, saving these dogs from going to shelters, getting euthanized and all that. So if you like this video, hit that like button below and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this topic. I'm kind of curious on what you think owners are doing and how this could be prevented. And I will see you guys on the next one. I am out.